Greetings, peoples. Today we're gonna be doing we're gonna be planning out a Minmus base. So, the purpose of Minmus base is going to be to refuel whatever craft we need to be sending out, whatever big craft. So, oh, wrong building. We wanted the research and development. So, primary goal before that is we need the ISRU things first. So gotta get some signs for that. What else? What else would be? Probably some habitation things. So don't need hydroponics. These we'll see. Yeah, we're gonna probably want to pick up some of these modules, and then yeah. Anyway, so really first would be check the alarm clock and see if there's any missions we can do to actually get the science. So, transfer window from the Kerbin to Moho. We're not going to do Kerbin Moho. I know how well that went last time. Eve. Ooh, we could do a bye-bye. Yeah, I'd say Eve, actually. So add Kerbin Eve. 76 days. Yeah, and then while we're doing that, the SCANSat we have over Duna is going to send a SCANSat there, actually. Moho 1 is going to have more than enough Delta V for this, so we're going to pull off a significant portion of it. Ditch the launch vehicle. And we're going to put the better telescope on this. I think we got the better telescope. Did we get the better telescope? Yes, we got the better telescope. Okay, yeah, we're going to put a better telescope on this because this one cannot detect anomalies. Not there that I don't think there are any anomalies of note on, but still. Also going to have to rearrange some of the stuff here. The real issue. There. Because that way, that's fine. Just we're gonna this out. This out. This. So this down actually. This slide in. And think set that up. Ooh. There we go. Want minimal-ish clipping. It's fine, we're gonna be close in, though we still want More solar panel. At solar locked. I'll just do the standard 6 one. Put a fairing around it. That should be enough at Eve's distance. Ooh, also, I worked a bit on stream stuff. You can see up around here. I added a latest activity feed. Also, you look, my antennas wiggle now. My primary ones. That took a bit of figuring out and some somewhat unintuitive properties of dynamic bones, but antennas wiggle now. Still follow my eyebrows. Cool. What else? Have antenna. I think we have everything. Now we just need to whip out where it Delta V map. And I think, yeah, Delta V map to get to Eve. Are we going to do air braking? No. Not going to do air braking. That requires designing a heat shield and a heat shield system and keeping everything behind it, and no. So, Eve takes 400 plus 50 plus 430 for a possible plane change, and because of our luck we're going to get the worst possible plane change, plus 80 to capture to eccentric orbit, and do we also want to do Gilly? Let's do Gilly too. So, assume we're going for Gilly first, then we need 60 to transfer to that, plus 410 to get into an orbit, plus 410 to get back out of orbit, plus 60, plus 1330 to get to there. Then plus a fair bit of margin, because we're going to be doing some funky stuff in order to get back up from Gilly. So really, actually, this probably means we just want the Moho version of the SCANSat, actually. Because we need 7... Oh, okay, we don't quite need that much, but let's steal its launcher anyway. Assemblies. Temp. Save. Open. Save. This has 3.9 kilometers per second. Slap this on the bottom. Get 9.2 kilometers per second. So pulling off the asparagus staged boosters, well, pulling off the top of the asparagus staged boosters, and is it not? Oh, we just can't pull off the top of them. Pull this off, pull this off. Drop this here. 8.4, so 4. Also, we need to this up. Two. I think should be good. Also do with a slightly smaller upper stage. Yeah, that'll give us a fair bit of margin. Also, actually, what? Around... around Eve gives us 26 EC per second. We really don't need. That's more than enough. Okay. Okay. So giving us more battery power would be so. Two of these on. There we go. There. And worth bringing. Could slap on another few goo canisters because we want. I'll put another 3 on. In here. Perfect. That's not being too much, at least. Okay. Staging. How's staging look? Fire. Fire all. And then couple. Then basically couple that. There. Couple that. Then fire this engine. Fairing off. That. Fire this engine. There we go. Now. Save. Leave. Time warp till the transfer. Then launch. Let's do this in the tracking station so we don't get flashy lights. Go. Now we wait for number to go down. And now view launch. Then check on how the Duna SCANSat's doing. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. Inform me if I'm forgetting anything. So, CA, enable, auto stage, 2 orbit, 80-kilometer orbit, no inclination, and launch. Here we go. You see the very pretty skipper plumes. And now it's pretty soon. Did I remember to? Yes, I did. Remember to do it. Ooh, this is all going to separate at the same time because I did not think this through and put fuel pipes in between. Oh well. Yeah. Go for Zen. See, it's how I'm gonna have to work on that. Let's see. Reminder for today at something happened. I'm gonna to review the VOD to see exactly what happened. That did not appear. Jeez. Well, This isn't making it to Eve. Should we revert? I could just like abort the mission and try again. Should I abort? Yeah, this is obviously never gonna revert. See what happened. To study the VOD to see what exactly hit what. So this. Quickly check my VOD and see what happened. Okay, so somehow the rear stage flew forward and impacted. Perhaps this can be at least somewhat fixed by setting this up correctly with asparagus staging. Oh. Oh, this is more like onion staging. We're not going boom, boom, that. We're just doing all of them at the same time. Okay. Okay. Let's try this again. Try this. So, quick check of my chart that to make sure. Quick check of my charts to make sure that this is actually the launch window. It is correct position. Let us put BD go. These are on unbalanced thrust. Good. Okay. We don't need the orbital thing. There. Okay. Now, see they're actually draining at the correct speed. That's very loud. Whoosh. Rocket noises. So, let's see if this stages correctly. Hopefully we get a good screenshot. Okay, we're not going to be running out just yet. Time to apoapse. This is looking good. You want to keep this around 1 minute, I think. It's the standard. Right. Right. There we go. Nice. Korolev cross looking thing. Except it's not exactly a Korolev cross because it doesn't go shoom and then unclip the front. I could try to make a Korolev cross deployment at some point, maybe. Could be a lot of effort, though. And we are nearing orbit. Stage separation. Nearing orbit. I tried installing Astronomer's Visual Pack and all the different stuff, but it was simply too much for my poor laptop, even though it is upgraded from my previous poor laptop. It still cannot handle the full thing, and also VC face and streaming. Well, it can, but it can if you're okay with watching a 15 FPS stream. I mean, are you guys okay with watching a 15 FPS stream? I take that as a yes. Well, okay, a no, but yeah. Anyway, I did keep distant object enhancement, though I think the render vessels thing, that render vessels feature is not working, so they're still going, far away vessels are still just going to be white dots, but at least you'll actually be able to see them. Posted to the thread earlier today, haven't gotten any response because it's a known bug, but I don't actually work to fix it. Perhaps I should set tunings for throttle controlled avionics to make it get to space faster, though slightly less efficient. Possibly. Yeah, this is forever. Okay, let's tell it minimum throttle is like 50%. There we go. Yeah, I think I'll go with minimum throttle 50% for or like 25% or something for next few launches, so it doesn't take quite so long. Anyway, now we nearly in orbit. 69. Do we have orbit reference? Oh, yes, our 2 reference probes, which I set up. Essentially, the idea with reference probes is the point where their orbits cross at the point where their orbits cross, looking from the equator, I should probably put this one in a slightly higher orbit so they actually intersect. As soon as the space center is directly below those, that is when you launch if you want to go to Minmus, and in the direction of this orbit probe, reference probe. Insertion burn, and I'll pop the fairing. Go. Now I extend solar panels, though I think actually I'm set up a action group. Anyway, we are currently fully set up for transfer. Fronts, we want to be, so I'd say that's a 60 degree roughly. So straight down, 60-degree angle right here. 2 minutes. So we have 2 minutes to set up a set up an Eve transfer burn. I actually like explained how where I'm getting these numbers from. On. Retrograde alert. Oh, I think I'm actually hitting in. I'll do this maneuver, and then you can. Perhaps I need to do it a bit before. 48 seconds. I'll execute node, and then we'll see where we lie and if we need and what course correction we need to do. Let's turn this bit so I can see. These are supposed to be. Ah, they are. At this point. Oh, yep, Eve, right there. These, I'm assuming, are the unknown objects. Okay. So let's just time warp out of urban sphere of influence. And figure out. Oh, that's why, because we need to do a plane change. So I think if we do this plane change, we should get a nice encounter. Judging interplanetary distances, judging small sections at interplanetary distances is not easiest. There. Okay, that gets us to 0, and then just need to do a beat of... And we get an encounter. Nice. Let's see. View and go back to this. We should, because probably what we actually want to do is do an what we actually want to do is do an counter with, well, actually, first of all, let's first of all, let's do a mystery glue observation. Then, well, we have then, since we've time warped quite a bit, let's go make sure our host SCANSat's doing fine. Our Duna SCANSat's doing fine. Yeah, Duna. Multi-load. So what sensors were actually on? This is off. See this. Say spectral is done. With 52 science we can send. Yeah, we're gonna have to kind of wait for data to go through. Okay, cool. Now let's actually charge up the batteries. The spectral is done. Resource map, resource done. Resource high is not done, so what else was there? Oh, yes, radar. It's done. And we have enough electric charge for that. So now we want to turn on the resource scanner. Time it. See how it's okay. Turn on the resource scanner now. This wants at least 250. This wants at max 200. And we're still gonna have to wait more on this, but we have some science we sent back. Okay, that's done. Now we switch back to this. Perform this node. And then fine-tune the encounter. This time, this should be a set and forget probe. Because finally, we have, at least we should have, unless I did something real wrong, we should have enough power to run all the instruments, and all the instruments have have compatible min and max altitudes. So
today has been a long day.
I thought I had that. Thought I had that muted. But I didn't. Okay, that's fixed. Anyway, as I was saying, we have sensors we should have enough power for all the sensors, and they should have compatible altitudes. So we warp to the maneuver. Execute it, check on doing the probe. Execute it, make new course change maneuver, check on doing the probe, go to that, execute it, and then should have a fair bit of science. So we can make a refinery for Minmus. Actually get to the point of this stream. Oh ho. To be there. And Kerbin is going to be Rez is over there somewhere. Oh yeah, Kerbin is pretty much direct opposite of the sun. Reminded, pale blue dot. Oh, there they are. Minmus, the moon, Kerbin. Yeah. Dot. So, want to make a final correction over there. Where we want to try to get a ghillie encounter. So we're actually going to set this as target. And I guess try to catch it around here. These are powerful in actually it's escape, so we actually want to go this side, okay? And now we just kind of tweak around with retrograde and this direction till we get a ghillie encounter. Now, one problem with attempting this, so we need to wait a bit more. Yeah, one problem with this is ghillie has a very small sphere of influence. Like, very small. But we can place ourselves precisely. We're not trying to do this over interplanetary distances. We're only trying to do it over slightly less than interplanetary distances. So, yeah. So we can just kind of, okay, we're getting there. Getting there. So we should be able to do this much more precisely than if we were trying to do this from our ejection from Kerbin. That would be very difficult. Now that reason is also why a small spacecraft can redirect an asteroid, because if you deflect it, by a few millimeters per second when it's years away, millimeters per second times, for calculation, it's 1 millimeter per second times 60 seconds per minute times 60 minutes per hour times 24 hours per day times 365 days per year is 31,500,000 millimeters divided by 1,000 for meters. Okay. 1 millimeter per second over a year is only 31 kilometers, but if you deflect it by more than that, then you start to act. But if you deflect it by, say, centimeters per second, sorry, then you start to be talking about hundreds of kilometers, which can turn a hit into a near miss. Anyway. I was just spam clicking the retrograde button because I want to do this slowly and precisely. And we're going to have quite a long burn to capture at Gilly. But as you can see by what's about to happen, we can get an encounter. Now, we can fine-tune this encounter once we get to the sphere of influence, but focus. Gilly. Yeah. Okay. Quick save. Execute. Here we are, coming in. And reform. Opposite sides of... Okay, they, our targets, should be roughly prograde, which puts them right there. Gilly. I love distant object enhancements. Why did I not get this mod sooner? This is a big burn, but it's also part of our capture burn because we're slowing down a fair bit. And we have preserved our Gilly encounter. Very nice. So now we are going to again check on how the SCANSat is doing. I know it's annoying, but must be done. Luckily, we should have pretty high resolution scans of Minmus, so we just need to send up another SCANSat for that. Who already scanned it. Let's actually rotate this face and see how we've done. Resource high, 100%. Nice. Now let's shut this down. Scan data. Transmit. Drop below 250 kilometers. So let's add put periapsis low 50. Periapsis below 250 over there. And should be able to start our visual scans. Done. Periapsis. Now we wait to swing over the top. Get power. Execute that node. Seven, 6, 1, burn. They're in a functional, for our purposes, orbit. Let's do that. We get functioning scanning, type visual. Source overlay. Warp a little bit. Oh. Actually, do a bit of a burn to desync our orbit. Make sure we point our panels at Kerbal again. And now back to this thing. Warp to our encounter. Now we're gonna probably do what we did on the Duna thing, and grab science from Eve's very upper atmosphere. Don't think it's going to be thick enough to hurt us if we only skim the top few kilometers. Been wrong about that before. Hyperwarp's not gonna do it faster. Go. Going. To that. Now, have science to do. Eve High Science. Though, do that after Gilly, so let's Gilly first. Get ourselves a slightly better encounter. So what are these actually do? It's up, diagonal, onto this direction. Should be good. 0.29 meters per second. Let's see if throttle controlled avionics can pull this off. So it tells we want to warp to the maneuver. Six, two, one, burn. There we go. Now, warp here. Should have 5 goo canisters left. So we have Gilly high, Gilly low, Eve high, Eve low, Eve high atmosphere. I think that's what we're going to do for goo canisters. Save just in case. It's actually a NASA mission, somewhat similar to what we're doing here, not necessarily with Gilly, but it's fast because Gilly's sphere of influence is tiny. Strig. Not material study and do a Mac port. Ooh, hello, Deluca. Saying, want to become famous by followers, primes, and viewers on something? Welcome to, my first ban. Wapoosh. Banned. Transmit this data. Okay, we're still in space high. Should, at some point, in space low, probably somewhere around here. Hopefully I'm close enough. I haven't actually looked at the biome. It's still in space high. Okay, turns out we didn't go low enough. Oh, actually, I forgot. We wanted to... Shit, I forgot. Oh. Reload. We want to capture because we're going to do SCANSat of here too. Okay. Warp here again. Okay. Okay. Now, actually, I should probably capture into a more polar orbit when I do this. So, slap down 26 seconds, 1 minute. I'm sure that's enough. I actually want to put this here. Okay. Execute node. There we go. Okay. Two. Nope. Over to capture into a, I guess, somewhat eccentric Gilly orbit. Something like that. I think there's modifiers on it. Because Gilly is so small, you don't actually have to be at 250 kilometers. Anyway, let's drop ourselves to Gilly's sphere of influence. I guess the title is misleading. I should get better at updating it based on eh, 3 minutes. Burn. Submit picture scan. Scan. Observation. Do a material study. Do a magnetometer. Okay. Now, execute node to maneuver. Enough. Pass over the pole. Burn. Still a high orbit. Let's see how low you have to go to get to a low orbit. What's there to foresee this getting a bit messy because we're not going to be able to get particularly great Let's see if 7 kilometers counts as a low orbit. Now, Gilly is quite lumpy, so I'm worried about crashing into it if we put our periapsis too low. Let's see. Okay. For this one, it's modified to be 113 kilometers. Ideal. Should have budget for enough to do. Wants to. Here. Please, please, please. Please tell me we get in space low at 8 kilometers. No, okay. How about 5 kilometers? Ooh. Kerbal Space Center's us. Warped. And see if we smack into the surface. Date the stream title. Go to leave. So, now will this give us in space low? Still in space high, but we're gonna do a very close encounter with one of Gilly's mountaintops, so this doesn't count as in space low. I'm gonna check the wiki. Okay, 6 kilometers. Wow. Okay. So, we need to get 6 kilometers, which is lower than that mountain. Okay, let's see. Let's execute this, and hopefully, when we come around, we're going to be able to pass through valley, and also we're going to be on the opposite side of from Kerbin, so hopefully we don't actually hit anything. Let's see. It's starting to actually be a bit hairy. Bit of a sketchy maneuver. Getting interesting. Warp to the burn. There we go. Okay. Let's see, can we scrape by? Let's not hit a mountain. Believe so. Here we are. Okay, still in space high, but once we drop below... Cool, in space near. Okay, temperature, pressure, goo, magnetometer. We're going to keep these. Cruise around to the other side. And on the next orbit, we're going to hit there. So we're going to raise. We're going to get out from behind Gilly. We're going to raise our apoapsis, periapsis, up to... What height did this want? 15. They all... Okay. These are, say, 13, which I guess, perhaps, is the highest you can ever get. On Gilly. So we're going to go with their min altitudes then. 70 kilometers. Also 70. Okay, let's get above 70 then. Let's go to like 100. Okay. Probably not going to be able to get... Also, their orbital period is going to be quite a while. Okay. Done. What impact there if we don't do this burn? Here. Similar maneuver. And let's actually start up the sensors. So we get up there. Okay. Start scan. Thick aperture radar. Start scan visual. Start scan Start scan resource. Start scan multispectral. Surface not in daylight, that's fine. And also transmit data. No. And we end up with an orbital period of 3 days. Let's look. Our path is mostly horizontal. Now this does also actually. So we're going so slow, we can actually go to 1 time warp level up from what we usually do. Now, let's see. think should be all business. There. Okay, cool. So we can turn off time warp, stop scan, data, transmit. Stop scan. It. Scan. Data. Transmit. Scan. Now, we head Eve itself. Our orbital velocity is 8 meters per second, which means that what we're actually going to do is this. Just directly burn retrograde relative to Eve because our velocity around Gilly does not particularly matter. Scale we're talking about. Okay. That looks about right. Decent periapsis for now. Okay. Now, into excuse this, and orbit will just flip itself around. Hopefully, we have the delta V to hopefully we have the delta V to actually pull off the capture. Yeah, we're gonna just do this. Flip stuff around and there we go. So we want to try to get a slight dip into the atmosphere, not that much. Actually, wait, maybe that much. Okay. Eve atmosphere starts at 90, I think. Quick save. Run the temperature. Scan. Pressure. Scan. Do observation. Photometer report. Then you want to go execute this node. Want to get this our periapsis just below 90 kilometers, so we skim the top of the atmosphere and can technically get upper atmosphere science. Probably going to be even more hectic than the time I did this on Duna. One, burn. Periapsis 89.7. So, I'm going to have to click all this very fast. How to maneuver. Get a decent apoapsis of things want to go 350 kilometers, 250, 300. So 375 we're looking for. Close enough. So let's do this. Warp ourselves here. Scary. Okay. Save again. Don't warp, but execute the node. Okay. We are going to be within view of carbon during this. Okay, we want to here. Space near. We can get that after. Oh, we want to pull the solar panels in. And our antenna in. And flying high. Temperature. Mr. Goo, atmospheric pressure materials study. Keep. There we go. And we're going back up. Okay, we're back in space. Nice. Solar panels back out. Okay. Antenna back out, though we don't actually need it because this is also an antenna. Then we want to transmit all the data. Complete, do a temperature, pressure, goo, magnetometer. Transmit. So, we have signs from low and in atmosphere. Now we just want to actually circularize our orbit so we don't continually dip in, so that we are the correct altitude for scanning. And execute this node. Oh, we're getting some oscillation. That's just fine. Okay, and we are in, I think, hopefully good orbit for this. Yeah, we haven't actually started scan, so it's not going to show. Now, did I actually transmit a resource scan from Gilly? I think I did. I don't know. I think I did. Scan. Scan. The fact I stopped scans leads me to think I did. Yeah. Gilly. Got the altimetry and slope stuff. Okay. Let's get ourselves into daylight so we can, though the altimetry is already going to starting up. How does our orbit look? I think it's okay. Yep. Are running ourselves out of power though. That's going to be solved as it starts to why we're not getting data for here, I'm unsure. Anyway, that's that bit done. Now we can actually get to planning our Minmus base. I'll rename the stream. Oh geez. I was streaming as Space Engineers. I'm dumb. No, 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 no. I'm dumb. I was streaming as Space Engineers. I'm playing Kerbal Spacecraft. I'm done. Okay. So. So, okay. Updated. Uh, feeling it down. Anyway, we have 1,700 science. Let's get ourselves this stuff. Important things. It's so. Grab that. Next up, important. Probably want to get some better solar cells. And radiators, No, I already have decent radiators for this, I think. Yeah, I have decent radiators for this. I don't need the really big one. These ones are for like. I don't need these ones. These ones are for like if you're. These ones are really for it, but these ones are more for if you want to like run a nuclear reactor. Anyway, next up goals are solar tech. I need to go do something real quick. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. How much more science do we need in order to get better solar tech? Another a bit over 200 science. So at some point we want power, but I don't think necessarily need. So I think actually we're gonna warp forward a bit. And grab back some stuff from our Eve. Then hopefully that'll get us enough science to get solar panels. Because I've always wanted to actually use those solar panels. I never really found a time and place to do that. This is not actually going to be enough to unlock. It always it's getting a bit late. I think I'll start on the base binary. Start on this, and then we can upgrade better stuff later. So, control. This is going to want a fairly hefty reaction wheel for its purposes. Ooh. Actually, this. This provides a very nice space to shove a bunch of components in. One of which will be an advanced inline stabilizer. The rest will probably be batteries. Make this all batteries, and then we just stick the advanced inline stabilizer on top or something. Let's turn on this rarely. Let's turn it off because that's not actually what this point makes placing these harder. Then we turn it back on. Now, these do not radially attach. However, let's do. Offset these down in, set these up. There we go. Looks like there. Actually, we want to set the Q-box struts down a tad more. There we go. And these are these on. Cool. Now, control V. Stabilizer. Stick that there. Oops. That. Don't need anything fancy. This will do. And then get to the fun bits. We need a convertotron. Just one. 1. And we need heat rejection for this convertitron and the rest of the bits. Also, we need space for relevant things we're going to make, which include need space for ore, also space for fuel, both kinds. We're gonna have an actual silo that we're gonna land next to this thing, connect up to it, which is gonna have most of the storage, but we need enough storage on here for buffering. Probably actually just use oh. And they don't need any monopropellant in them this time. What else do we want? Liquid fuel oxidizer, monoprop. We need ore itself. Put two holding tanks on. What else? We may at some point. May at some point want lithium, but that is going to have to be added later because we do not have lithium tanks at the moment. It is unlocked quite a ways away, actually. Yeah, I think that should be it for now. Stuff-wise, now we need to balance some numbers. Also, I think Terrier to do this. On Minmus, the thrust to weight ratio of it's going to be quite high. Trying to remember what I did for this refinery thing the last time I ran the playthrough. Scan through the screenshots. Did I actually take any pictures of it? Base. Did not. That's fine. We want this to be something new anyway. So now it's time for some math. If we're trying to make liquid fuel and oxidizer, I think all of these have the same. Lithium takes 1 ore per second. We're gonna have to run it at lower capacity if we. But ignore that because not lithium anytime soon. Math. But that takes 30 charge per second, which we're not going to handle yet because we have no solar panels. But more importantly, it takes half an ore per second, which means let's take a look at the ore concentrations. Minmus, I think the concentration is a modifier in how fast the drills work. So if we to Minmus, let's take a look at SCANSat stuff. Altimetry, go with visual at this point. Turn on resource overlay. Increase the cutoff until it all disappears. Now we will actually want to do a scouting mission probably and carry along the surface scanner, so how about we actually handle that? Yeah. Because right now it appears the flatlands have lower concentration of 7. Yeah, we're probably gonna the lesser flats are looking tempting, but yeah, we want to send up a mission to actually like do the surface the surface analysis thing, because that gets you a higher or a better measurement, because even the high precision ore stuff tends to be off by like 1 or 2%. Okay, let's do that. Now, big question is, does it have to be manned? Kerbaled? Save this. Or scout. First of all, so let's assume it can be unmanned. To check whether it can actually be unmanned, I'm gonna do 3, 2, do this and pop it out on the launch pad and do a scan and see if it actually works. So before doing the scan, do we actually have scan data for turbine? Not. Let's just check this anyway. Analysis. Or appears to have worked. Or no data. I guess we haven't actually done a scan. We haven't actually done a orbital scan of this. Now I'm going to have you guys look away for a second. Don't look, don't look. There's something. Look. No looky. No looky. Looky. 7-6 or. Octet. Sis. Okay, it does work unmanned. Cool. So, knowing that, stick. Oh, thank you for the follow, C4 and 7I. If that's how you pronounce it, how do you pronounce it? C4. Going by leet speak, that would be can't I? Is that correct? Ah, yeah. Cool. Anyway, thank you for the follow. Anyway, we are going to do a bit of scouting out on Minmus to get ore compositions. We want to figure out where to put our surface base. Would that be enough fuel? Looking at 3T. The pug is our best bet. This have way more than enough delta V for our purpose of hopping around on Minmus. And on body Minmus, it has a thrust to weight ratio of 47. Very good. So actually, how much does this mass? Ton. Yeah. I think this is primarily good because it has fuel and oxidizer already in it. And so we have way to rotate. Ooh, we need power. Stats is probably enough for this actually. It's not going to take very much power. Anyway, what brings you here? How did you find this stream? Conducting a surprise survey. Okay, that should get us power. And we need the actual instrument. Put this about. What am I doing? Do this, then enable this and spin this around. Ah! Nice. VTuber of the day. Glad I posted to that then. Yeah. Anyway, that actually gets it perfectly centered. Oh. Then I just stick these on. So I think I'd only really need one, but so yes, form follows function, but I want to make it look nice too. Then we just kind of schlep this there, and it up here. Turn this. Okay, and I should. Now we need landing gear. There. Now we are just going to be landing these on the flats, so it's really not going to be, our landing footprint is not going to be a problem. Now, play decoupler, bearing, pull this compact. So, 5. There we go. There. Oop. Oop. Very small. To get to Minmus, we should just have tables up for this, but put this into Minmus orbit, we need at least need at least 3,400 for Kerbal orbit plus 930 for transfer plus I'd say 100 for plane change, even though I actually have a setup, so we shouldn't need to do a plane change, plus 160 for capture. So we need to give, besides this, we need to have another 4.6 kilometers per second of delta V. Ooh, do you know what delta V means? This context of space travel and aerospace and stuff. Probably. Back to Kerbal reference. No, I think we actually need a terrier for this. Yeah. Okay, then tank coupling. Their fuel tank, probably of similar size. And want something decent in atmosphere. 15, does that give us enough thrust? 45 then. Let's more than enough. This is gonna go up quite fast. Okay, we know we do actually want more delta V. Get this. So we'll put in this. Go for this. That's not quite enough, although we aren't actually going to be doing as many hops, so still I want more. Eh, 4.4 kilometers per second, close enough. Fairly decent thrust to weight ratio on the first stage. Going to do the cool boat tail method I like. Structural tube. Stick that there. Grab the move tool. Get the structural tube. I think I got the structural tube. Did. Okay. There. Just link it a bit. Perfect. Fins. 4 fins, probably. It's not. This is local. Shunt it out. I am somewhat disappointed there's no good, very small fins for this purpose. I guess I can do this to make it a bit better. I think that actually looks, a lot like the first stage of the Mercury Redstone. Up different colors, but yeah, it had that slope and then straight out. Anyway, Minmus or Scout is too good. Stages look okay. Grab ourselves a launch clamp. Cool thing of having 2 launch clamps. Two launch clamps. This one, the longer one. Clamps deploy correctly. Minmus or Scout. Here we go. Oh, turn on TCA. Throttle controlled Avionics. I love this mod because yes, I know it's an autopilot, and that's somewhat sometimes frowned upon in the KSP community. However, if you've done literal hundreds of launches you know what you're doing, and then just doing launch after launch. Okay, it's a positive inclination. Minmus has 6 degrees of inclination. Launch. Anyway, if you're doing literally hundreds of launches over your time playing KSP, I do not know how many hours I have in KSP. It's in the very likely in the multiple thousands, as I got this game standalone, not on Steam, so I was not tracking my hours. And I got it on Steam. Thank you, Zenara, for the follow. Yay, getting followers, and this recent activity thing is actually getting use. Anyway, yeah, I did get it on. Hello, I did get it on Steam actually, so for more easy updating, but at this point, I'm not bothering to actually like run it via Steam to count the hours. I just copy it out of the where it downloads from Steam to my own thing, so I can do all the mods without it auto updating or anything. Yeah, thank you for coming. This is the most active my chat has been in a while. And we can all admire the very pretty waterfall plumes. Jules there. In general, NerdTeam makes some very cool mods for Kerbal Space Program I'm using, and I'm using most of them in this playthrough. Yeah, I remember we were going to make it so min throttle was a whole lot higher, so we don't have to wait so long to get into... Okay, yes, we are actually going the correct direction. Sometimes I get it wrong, and I end up going the wrong inclination to get to Minmus, and then I end up having to burn twice the amount for the plane change instead of the normal amount of fuel, and then, yeah, it is pain. Ooh, actually, that is a problem. Going to abort that and try to fix this. I did not notice. This is one of the downsides. Why then? Why then, Zanara? Anyway, that's one of the downsides of throttle-controlled avionics. You do not notice that it's deciding to take a nosedive. Hopefully we can rescue this. At this point, I think I'll just revert, actually. And monitor it more closely. This time. Warp ahead till when? CA. Enable. The stage. To orbit. 6-degree inclination. 80 kilometers. This time I'm going to try to pay attention and make sure it's... Because what we want, essentially we want... the time to apoapsis to be around a minute, is what generally works. If it falls below a minute, we have an issue. Must rectify. I think throttle-controlled avionics doing that where it lets the time to apoapsis fall too far is caused by you not having a high enough thrust to weight ratio. your stage, which, yeah, I guess this one only has a thrust weight ratio of around 1. Ooh, Kerbal Space Program? Ooh. I mean, I figured it out, but I was like hyper focused on being super into aerospace and stuff. I think if you watch a lot of Scott Manley tutorials on this, you should be able to figure it out. Now, Kerbal Space Program 2, which is coming out in I think around a year, which is the sequel to this, they are going to have a very interesting tutorial system, which I'm quite excited for, which should explain all this even better. But I'd say the learning curve is steep, but it'll teach you. Let me actually, I'm gonna pause this, pull up something real quick. A funny picture. Let's see. KSP, KSP. Figure out which one it is. Save image. Give me a second. Stick it. Now add a image source. Call it image stuff. Sets. Yeah, this is accurate. Okay, it's not quite accurate. You're going to learn more at NASA, but it's the sentiment is accurate. When you play KSP, you truly start to understand aerospace, which is what I like about it. It teaches you, well, learning how to do it teaches you the all the things of rocket science in a pretty intuitive way, much more intuitive than some physics courses, I'd say. This was going to say. Yeah, part of it is essentially how hard can rocket science be anyway? That's one of the, I believe, mottos of KSP. Delete source and going. Now because it's letting time to apoapsis lower, I'm going to burn a bit above. Because the time to apoapsis is too low, I'm going to essentially point a bit above the direction I'm going, so I can kind of push the orbit up a little bit. This is less efficient, partially because you're presenting a larger surface area to the oncoming air, although there's not much air at this altitude, and also partially because now your effective thrust is multiplied by the cosine of your angle from prograde, which is the direction you're moving, and so you get what's called cosine losses. So that reduces your efficiency. Okay, there. Now it's actually climbing. Nice. We are still going quite fast in the atmosphere, so we're getting shock heating, but that's fine. Just gotta wait for... you can't see it because it's behind the overlay, but you gotta... here. You gotta wait for this number to reach this number. Ooh, the fairing's actually glowing. I am slightly regretting this is where we start to bump up the minimum throttle. so we can shove ourselves into a higher orbit faster. There we go. Once this hits T, get engine burnout, we coast up. Just time warp up till we get out of the atmosphere. Inside the atmosphere, you can only time warp up to 4 times speed. Actually, you can go faster with this mod I have. It's called Better Time Warp, but going faster than 4 times in the atmosphere is not a particularly good idea anyway. So let's not do it. Yeah, you tend to meet the Kraken, which is what we in Kerbal community call physics glitches. It was originally caused by floating point errors from you getting far from the origin of the game world, but that was fixed by making the origin of the game world yourself. So instead of you moving, the universe moves around you, which actually I think is the case in a lot of games. Anyway, we're now in a roughly 80 by 80 kilometer by 80 kilometer orbit, so 80 kilometer apoapsis, 80 kilometer periapsis, which is highest and lowest point in your orbit. Now, I want to go to Minmus. So that involves, if I remember correctly, roughly this angle between where you put your maneuver node and where Minmus is, but it's easy to figure out what that angle is because you just plot a. Well, it's easy to figure out even if you don't know what that angle is because you just. First of all, actually, we want to correct our inclination. So here, 43 seconds, don't have that amount of time. Here, we're going to add a maneuver to tilt our orbit, like that, except not that much. And to tilt our orbit to make it parallel and coplanar with Minmus's orbit. Now, I was actually very precise with the timing of when I launched, so we only have a 2.3 meters per second. We only need to change our speed by 2.3 meters per second in order to change your orbit by that. But this maneuver to align your orbit for Minmus, if we were in an equatorial orbit, if it was just around the equator, we'd have to burn like 340 meters per second of delta V. Change our speed by 340 meters per second in order to align the orbits. Luckily, we don't have to do that because I was smart and already launched into an inclined orbit. We get to go. Intaked some coolant out actually to go fill that back up. Also, I think this is, as of now, or as of a few minutes ago, the longest stream I've ever done. Small meter. Now we can actually do the Minmus injection. So I believe it's roughly this angle where you have it Minmus a bit below the horizon from the perspective of the Minmus. Then we just burn prograde to extend our orbit. Get Minmus encounter, sort of. Oh wait, no, that's the moon. That's Minmus. There we go. So now you don't actually have to know this angle though, because what you can do instead is just extend your orbit out to where Minmus's orbit is, then spin your orbit around forward and backward until it hits Minmus. Right, let's see what it's actually going to do when we get to Minmus. To tweak it a little bit, so there we go. Quick save. Execute node. 921 per second. Looks about right. Delta V map says it should be around 930 meters per second to perform this maneuver. This makes sense. Delta V map is a bit conservative with its values. Are actually going to stage during this, so we're going to do our capture on our actual descent engine. This sign means that we're gonna run out of fuel in this stage. Oh, I forgot to pop the fairing. Oops. That added a bit of mass, reducing our delta V a little bit. Hopefully them bonking down the side of the craft didn't break anything. Oh, anyway. And also, the decoupler didn't decouple. What? What? Okay, I'm going to perform some rocket surgery here. Look away. Now, the most precarious one of all, clipping off the decoupler. I do not want to hit the engine. Quick save, let's boost up the speed. There we go. Saw nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. So, now let us actually perform that maneuver. Again. Also, since we burned off some fuel, I'm going to do another you saw nothing. To actually perform the maneuver. One. There. Oh. another you saw nothing. Avert your eyes. Burn. So, with absolutely nothing sketchy at all having happened, we've done a ejection burn to intercept Minmus. So we're gonna, around here, do a course. Here, I'd say do a course correction to get ourselves a bit, to get our orbit a bit closer. Do by prograde a bit. All and a bit up to get ourselves more equatorial. Go. Execute that node. On. Nearly there. Dun, 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 dun. Dun. And nice. Okay. Now to capture to a Minmus orbit. Then pick the biomes we're going to drop into and scan. Up to the maneuver. Oh wait, we don't need the science here now. I log up, not doing science. Need to get better at cleaning up my UI vomit. Been told should not have so many panels on screen. But I like info. Info is good. I want all the panels. Panels. Oh, there's Minmus. Hey, we are orbit. Nice. So, places we want to go. Actually make a checklist. Ooh, don't draw overlay. Minmus is very bright. Instead, go with this. Minmus. So, our candidates for landing are the flats, because I do not want to have to go through the trouble of doing base operations on a slope. Not going to do that, so we're going to go on the flats. So our options are the lesser flats, which are apparently the highest in ore from according to our SCANSats, or the greater flats. So we can spread this out and so we have lesser flats. Got to check out. I think the ore number is actually per biome and not per landing spot, so don't have to check every single landing spot. But the primary candidate is and secondary candidate is greater flats, or is significantly less there according to this, only 3.7%. But we'll see. I've seen the ore amounts jump up a lot when you do the surface sampling. Not surface sampling, but the surface analysis. Then flats, and then just great flats. Okay, so first, lesser flats. Let's you actually need to that oh, also flats. Okay, so 4 places to land. Let us do our least likely one. Let's do the greater flats first, because ideally we want to land the place with the highest content. Let's do greater flats first, which are these ones, I believe. Let's blind ourselves with the Minmus's overlay. Okay, yeah, so yeah, we want to land somewhere there, so good enough. Actually, I can use the landing autopilot to tell it to land it here. Ooh, but I don't think have the actual landing autopilot. No, we don't. Okay, delete the target. Let's just execute this node. To slide. I'm going to cancel this node actually. Wait until Great Flats comes around to the daytime again. Instead, do this. Execute node. Now, this is a bit of a high orbit to deorbit from, but we're doing it. Cool. To Kerbal Engineer, we're going to learn here, which is fine by me. Quick save, and I'm going to watch this number, the suicide burn. Actually, I'm going to pull up the landing data panel. It's really okay. The suicide burn is the number we're looking for. So this is the countdown to when you burn your engine at full thrust. You will come to zero altitude. You will come to zero speed when you reach zero altitude. It is the last possible moment where when you turn your engine on, you're not going to crash. It is the most efficient way to land, which is why the SpaceX Falcon 9 rockets do it on the barges. That, and also the fact that they cannot actually lower their engine throttles enough to hover. So if they do not start at the last possible second, they'll start to go back up, which is not good. So yeah, I think Starship and Super Heavy can actually hover when landing, which means that they don't necessarily have to do it, but they'll do it because they'll do it because it's the most efficient. Okay. You warp until that reaches a small number. Ooh. Actually, we point retrograde. Then warp until this is a small number. Ooh, there's the first place we landed on Minmus. There, 22 kilometers away. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. First time I did this, someone chatted in chat and I lost focus. 2, 1, burn. Okay. We have a very high thrust to weight ratio, so I could have actually cut that a little bit closer. Anyway, I'm going to tell it to stop us, go down at 10 meters per second. This is the primary purpose of throttle-controlled avionics. Well, actually the primary purpose is land, and I'll tell us about it. 4 meters per second. 2 to 20. Turn this to radar altimeter. 17. Speed. Slower. Contact. Okay, so as I was saying, primary purpose of throttle-controlled avionics is if you have two engines, or well, if you have more than one engine, and your craft is unbalanced, and the center of thrust does not go through your center of mass, throttle-controlled avionics will tweak the thrust limiter of the engine such that it essentially, if an engine is producing too much thrust and will start to torque the craft over, it's going to reduce the thrust in that engine. So it essentially throttles each engine individually to point the center of thrust through the center of mass of the craft. So you could build VTOLs without having to worry about precisely placing your engines. What it also does is have all these options for being able to do VTOL things. So you can like anchor yourself to a thing, level yourself, go at a certain speed and bearing. It'll actually try. There's actually a landing one where it'll try to land itself. Yeah. It also has a maneuver node executor and an ability to perform orbital rendezvous and orbital ascents and landings from orbit. Very cool. Anyway, we were here to do one thing, which is to push this button. Yep. Booted us up around, I believe, 2% from what it was before. Open the door. Yep. I guess we've essentially recalibrated the number. So, okay. Let's go to the next thing on our list. This was, oops. That was the Crater Flats. Crater Flats have 5.6%. Next up is the Great Flats, which are these. That Great Flats are over here somewhere. Time warp ahead. Wait for them to come into daylight. Actually going to pull up the map in a bit. It's over there. So, do is we're going to go west. Rough like a literal rocket because we have thrust to weight ratio of like 50. Because we have a lot of thrust and Minmus does not have much gravity. Okay, we achieved a area abscess of 1.5 kilometers. We want to head, I believe, this direction. Because I think, yeah, that's north. So this is the direction we want to go. Let's see if we can. Not okay. There. Now we drop from here. And perform a hop. This up a little bit. There's where we landed on Minmus for the 9th time, because when we landed on Minmus, we did a bunch of hops around to get every single biome. Okay. Our horizontal velocity is actually almost perfectly cancelled. So, to stop, wait for suicide burn. 20, 19, 18, 17, and on the finger on the Z button. Go full throttle. 12, 11, 10, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now we descend. Down, down, down. T. Second. Contact. Press the button. Ooh, okay. Great flats are 11.54%. Or nice. That is a good This is actually a good candidate, partially because we can actually put a base perfectly on the equator, so we can get more efficient launches than what's possible with maybe just the flats. And we still have loads of fuel. We need to head north and east. So that should be this direction, roughly. Oh yeah, here. Ooh, what we actually did. Plop down a waypoint. Head. And it's going to show a map view. There. Oh, we have a waypoint now. Straight up. Stop. CS kill. Okay. Now we go this direction. Perfect. Then just stick a over here. Should. Good. Okay. Execute. Should plop us down pretty much right on the nav marker, actually, which we can delete. So the rest of our surface velocity, or orbital velocity. There. Horizontal velocity cancelled. Let's point ourselves straight up and down. Time warp till this number goes down low. 2, 4, 23, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1. Not that much closer this time. Level down at your speed. Stop. 2 meters. 10 meters. Down at 2 meters per second. Slow down. Command. Nice. Okay. Press the button again. This one gives us 13.49%. Okay, flats are 18.9%. Then lesser flats. Dits, lesser flats are somewhere dark now. In map, lesser flats. Well, pretty much opposite side of the planet, actually. To around here somewhere, so let's time warp until it comes day there. I probably could have put lights on this, but I didn't. Anyway, best way appears to be just kind of go north directly that way. Ooh, equator does pass through, so we can go directly at the bottom there. That's where we can put our base, possibly, if this ends up being the highest concentration. Anyway, slap down a waypoint here. Save. Off. Okay. Let's this direction. So bring that up to the horizon. Burn. Ooh. Now, are we going to clip the surface? No, we are not. Ooh, almost forgot. I wanted to grab a screenshot. Yeah. Fairly good. Okay. For the thumbnail. And now we can just cells there. So space land actually, although let's just complete solar surface. Close enough. Delete the waypoint. To actually burn ourselves directly south. Let's actually just shunt ourselves over to where this direction. So that to plop ourselves Delta V to do this. That is our horizontal cancelled. Suicide burn. 10. Perfect. Stop. Just push down. Here we go. Final scan. Analysis 14.12%. Flats. Possibility. Lesser flats are going to be. I'll open up and turn this on and the TCA window. So we can see this. Let's use the resource cut. This is not. Doesn't help that this is essentially cut in half by the map, but yeah. Lesser flats. Not actually reach the equator. Oh, this is also lesser flats. Ooh, flats also do reach the equator. They have 13%, lesser flats have 14%. I mean, they're both pretty equally as good. This just has slightly more. This one, more central on the map. Ooh, which do I choose? we're not really going to be using this map very much for this. So I think I'll just stick with where we are right now. And I think with that, I'm gonna end this off. It's getting late. So, yes, have a good insert time zone relevant greeting here, something like that. It's been pretty fun, at least for me, hopefully for you guys too. Yeah. Bye.